Welcome back to ESBR Boxing's YouTube channel. Delighted, as always, to be joined by Thomas Gaffney. This is a final prediction video for the big fight at super flyweight taking place in Phoenix, Arizona tonight between pound for pound Hall of Famer, multiple weight world champion Juan Francisco Estrada takes on Jesse Rodriguez, who's probably the most exciting fighter around his kind of age group in world boxing at the moment. Thomas, it's a big one tonight. It's an exciting one, possibly a passing of the torch moment in boxing. You've got Estrada, who's kind of legend he has had 40 odd fights now, has been inactive the last 18 months. And Jesse Rodriguez, who obviously had that fantastic, emphatic win against Sonny Edwards last time out, still undefeated. New, obviously moving up from flyweight as well. What's your final prediction going into this one?
Yeah, I do think that, like many, that Father Time is going to play a role in this one. I think 34 years old at super flyweight, is it's getting up there. So I expect Rodriguez's physical abilities to take over in this fight. But I do, at the very least, I think Juan Francisco Estrada, he's 34, but at least from what we last seen of him, and we haven't seen a whole lot of him lately, but from what we have seen of him lately, it's not like he's necessarily slipping. So I think this is going to be a good fight. And at the end of the day, I think right around the midway point or closer to the championship rounds, it, Rodriguez is going to pull away and come away with a clear decision.
Okay. Why are you going for a decision, Thomas? Rodriguez, as we saw, won by stoppage last time out. He's got 12 stoppages and 19 wins. Estrada, though, never been stopped. Are you going for a decision down to the experience of Estrada or Rodriguez perhaps not having the power at super flyweight? Why have you gone for the points win?
Yeah, like you mentioned, Estrada hasn't been stopped. He's tough and experienced, and I mean, for a while, he was kind of like the class of that. Aside from like Chocolatito, he was like the class of that, 112 to 115 neighborhood. Um, so I think that he has a lot of craft along, you know, with his experience, and I think that will help him have some success. But I do think that it'll help him go the distance. And if you can go to the distance against Chocolatito three times, um, I think he can go the distance against Jesse.
That's a good point. That's a good point. You got to question if he can be stopped after all those, what was it, 36 rounds against Chocolatito. So it's all yeah, no, I'm gonna give my final prediction as well. I would love to disagree with you, and I do think there's a chance for stoppage here, but I'll go for a points win. I'll be boring, and I'll agree with you, Thomas, and go for a points win for Jesse Rodriguez. I'll go for a 118-110 sort of scorecard. I know it's kind of really precise final prediction to predict what the scorecard's going to be, but that's yeah, not a shutout, but a wide points victory for Jesse Rodriguez. But we will see. Moving on, Thomas. Seeing as we both think Rodriguez is going to is going to win tonight. Um, this is him. He's obviously fought at super flyweight before, come back down to flyweight. Now back up at super flyweight. There were quotes from promoter Eddie Hearn this week about him being a five-weight world champion. Um, Obviously currently two-weight world champion. Do you think that's possible? Can you see him moving up to bantamweight, super bantamweight, maybe even featherweight, kind of the next few years? Just a reminder, he is still only 20. He is still only 24 years old. He could fight for another kind of 9, 10, 11 years. That's a possibility. What are your thoughts on the future of his career?
Yeah, I certainly, he doesn't necessarily strike me as a guy who's like, you know, really like struggling to get down to those lower weights. But I think event like you mentioned, he's 24. and he has seemingly a lot of time left in the sport. So, and the way fighters move around these days, it's just division after division after division. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him follow the same trend.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little it's happening a lot with kind of the pound for pound greats of the sport, it feels like. Current pound for pound greats, Canelo Alvarez has kind of, started his career at fairly lightweight and he's gone up all the way to light heavyweights. Um, Another guy who has done that is Naoya Inoue, who started his career at light flyweight and is now at super bantamweight, and that's the name I'm going to throw at you now, Thomas. There'll still be two weight divisions between the two of them, but that's the name that's being spoken about at the moment. Both undefeated, both big punchers. Um, can you see that fight happening in the next? I'm going to give you 18 months to 2 years. I'm going to give you a fair amount for that time to happen. In a way, look, arguably could 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 still fight at bantamweight. Rodriguez is still young, and you've got a question like in 2, 3 years' time, he could naturally be bantamweight, super bantamweight. If both fighters continue to win, which isn't a must, isn't definitely going to happen, but both fighters continue to win, is that a fight you can see happening?
I think that definitely it would be a fight that fans would probably ask for just because, if Bam beats Estrada tonight, what big fight is out there for him?
Yeah,
Um, so it might be it could be in a way, and like you mentioned, I don't think, in a way is not the biggest super bantamweight, so perhaps he could drop down
yeah,
and actually make that fight happen. Um, it would be a good one, at least on paper. Uh, it's just Naoya. He just looks, even at 122, he's not, big or anything, but he looks strong.
yeah.
And I just feel like that would be the strength and power. I mean, good luck overcoming that. And he's, I mean, just as fast probably too. So, I mean, yeah, that's a tall order.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. I think it's a possibility because Inoue is a massive star, and therefore he's going to want to be in massive fights. And I think this is a massive fight. I don't see it happening in the next 12 months. I think it's kind of a late 2025, early 2026. But if, as I said, if both fighters keep winning, I think it can happen, and I can see it happening in Saudi Arabia if I'm honest, the way things are going and the way that Turkey Al Sheikh is talking, he wants these fighters. I think another example is actually Naoya Inoue against Gervonta Davis. He says he wants that fight, whether you want to see it or not. He wants to see it, and whether it's right or wrong for Inoue to be going up however many weight divisions, these are the sort of conversations that are going to happen, are going to continue to happen. So we'll see. Thomas, good to speak to you. Juan Francisco Estrada against Jesse Rodriguez tonight. We're both going for Jesse Rodriguez points. Let us know in the comments what you're going for. Do you think we're going to see an upset and Estrada's going to roll back the years and become the first man to beat Jesse Rodriguez? Or do you think Jesse Rodriguez could possibly win by stoppage? Let us know. Thomas, thank you very much for your time, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you.